All right. And we are live. Cool. All right, folks, welcome in. This is going to be our second episode of Bushes in the Burghs with Zach and Christian. Happy to have you guys back here for another episode. So, first off, we are going to get into our recap of our first week here with our teams. So I'm going to have Zach go ahead and cover the Cardinals here and see if there's any changes to his season prediction for them.
Yeah, that's touchy subject. First three games, nice sweep against the Twins. Get off nice hot and 3-0. Then they go and face the Angels, and then they drop two straight. I'll be honest with you, the pitching didn't look good, and I think I said that last week. It's just not. It's not solid. And to be honest, I honestly think this team's going to do a little bit worse than I predicted. I think I originally predicted 5 games above 500 this year instead of 3. I think they look like a 500 baseball team right now. And if the management over in St. Louis wants to call it a successful season, in my eyes, that's just they need to sell the team at that point. Because nobody in St. Louis considers a 500 season a successful season. They went on to continue. They got that Boston, was it Friday, got rained out. Saturday, they played a doubleheader tonight, and they proceeded to get swept by Boston, and it wasn't pretty. The pitching staff, again, was very lackluster. Ryan Helsley looks like a shadow of himself. They've thrown Nolan Gorman on the Phantom DL for 15 days, so I won't get to see him do anything. And they've got historically low attendance figures at Busch, and 21,000 of 41,000 attended the April 1st game against the Angels, making it the lowest non-pandemic attendance at Busch since, again, pandemic season.
That's actually wild. Like
insane.
St. Louis is always like among the top, and it's just weird to see it fall off now.
They are 4-4 to start the year, and they're on pace for 500 ball, which is fantastic if that mediocrity is what floats your boat. But with the history, the kind of history that this organization has, it's just not something that floats anybody's boat over here. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, I mean, just going back on yours, I mean, it is kind of shocking to get swept, but also, I mean, I would say like the limelight of the circumstances is that Boston did put a decent investment into their team this year, so I wouldn't. I mean, it's still early, and that's
I mean, you want to know what the Cardinals did this offseason?
Well, they did nothing, so it's
fucking nothing. So
so.
No, it's absolutely it is nice to see teams that do make those investments pay off, but I couldn't tell you what that feels like because they did nothing. They didn't re-sign anybody. They didn't even go out and get some bottom feeder pitcher or some bottom feeder minor leaguer for that matter. They did zero things. They stood still. I understand Pirates fans bitch about Nutting not spending any money. The Cardinals spend money. They do. But at least Nutting went out and did something this offseason for you guys. Like, the Cardinals were the only team to do nothing. Zero action. The only team in the league. And it's going to haunt them this year. We'll talk more on that on the next bit.
I mean, for me, just going on to the Pirates, obviously winning one game in each of your first 3 series is kind of rough. But I'm not panicking. I mean, it's still early in the season. I mean, last year, looking at the Pirates, they started 9-0, and everybody was like, "Oh, World Series," and like pump the brake a little bit here. It's kind of the same circumstance. I've seen good things. I mean, we're getting amazing starting pitching for the most part. I mean, Mitch Keller had a bad outing against the Yankees, and Bailey Falter had a good 4 innings and then kind of exploded in the 5th. But overall, I think in general, the starting pitching's there. They're getting on base at a decent clip, although the hits they got to start hitting to some degree. Getting on base is great, but you got to get hits to actually drive them in. Um, they get stagnant around 4 runs a game. I don't know. Today was the first game that they scored 5, but it was the walk-off win. And it's a little frustrating, being that they invested in. To me, it is surprising who is actually showing up for the Pirates right now. I mean, Key Brian Hayes is absolutely killing it. Looks like he's back to like when he first came into the league, getting on base. They even had him hitting the 4 hole when I was there. Had an RBI double, so he's executing as far as getting runs across. It's nice to see Key Brian actually come back and be that player that we thought he was going to be when he signed the long-term deal. So for me on that end, the optimism as far as like things could get better, that would be fantastic if they do. But the bullpen scares the crap out of me. They don't have a closer. So that's a problem to me. So they need to figure that out. But overall, I think there are some good bullpen pieces in there. And then I think once Jared Jones gets back, they can move Carmen Majinski back to the pen, and that's going to help kind of calm things down, as he's kind of like their go-to guy and like get out of jam situations. Overall, though, for me, I'm not going to change the 500 prediction. I think that's right now, unless they start to put stuff together and start to catch on fire offensively, it's going to be right around 500, and they need to get a closer. So, I mean, we'll cover that in a later section as well. We'll kind of just move along here. Any comments on that, Zach?
No, I mean it's pretty straightforward and it's pretty self-explanatory with Pittsburgh. You know, in my eyes, Pittsburgh's in a kind of a unique spot. You know, they're still trying to bolster their bullpen, and I wouldn't call them rebuilding, but I would call them rebuilding, if that makes sense at all.
Well, yeah, they're definitely still rebuilding. I think they're just
Yeah.
starting to.
I think they're towards the end stages of that
Yeah.
rebuild, though. They're starting to find the pieces and put the pieces together. And to be honest with you, you know, every team in the NL Central this year, with the exception of, I think, maybe the Cubs, has a chance at pulling off the NL Central.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, right now it's still too early, and
Yeah.
I see all the Pirates fans freaking out, and it's I get it, but also like we're the Pirates. What are your expectations at this point? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it can't be high. I mean, what the last time we even went to a World Series was 1979. So let's pump the brakes on freaking out. I mean, there are things that I'm frustrated with as far as like the management side, but it's early, okay? So we'll figure it out.
Let's talk about
Um,
your team needs pre-trade deadline. I know it's early, but I mean, what does your team need to get there?
right now, to me, I mean, obviously, I think bullpen help in general, although I think they have some guys that have stepped up recently. That, I mean, Caleb Ferguson looks pretty good. Um, it's just they need a closer. I mean, you need somebody that you can go to ninth inning that's just going to shut the game down. And Bednar used to be that guy, and I don't know, for whatever reason, like he just stopped getting any movement on pitches. So guys have just been lighting him up for the past year, and they sent him down to AAA. I would assume that means that he's probably done, barring somebody getting injured. They have Nicholas in the minors that they could call up. He looked pretty good in situations last year. I just don't think I just don't think the answer to a closer is on the roster. And I think just in general, they need to go out and make a trade. And it's really early, but they got a lot of assets in the minors. So why not go out and take a swing on someone? I mean,
Yeah,
it,
I absolutely agree with you there.
I mean,
100%.
like, for example, You got the Yankees here using Devin Williams as like I don't know, just an everything guy. Devin Williams is a closer that they're not even used to close games. Yankees need starting pitching. Well, we have prospects that are pretty much ready on the verge. Why not make a move and get a bullpen? it's really all that I think the Pirates really need. I get the offense isn't really coming through yet, but they're getting on base. They're getting into scoring position. They just need to start executing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just rhythm at this point in time.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
So,
To be honest, in St. Louis, it's more of the same. The offense was red hot getting started, and then they fell flat. They've kind of dumped off a few key players, in my opinion. The new hitting coach looks solid. They've got a better approach, but they still have a lot of young guys in that system that are trying to have a two-strike approach, but are still G-hacking. And I'm not going to name names, but I mean, Mason Wynn is just out there swinging at everything. Meanwhile, we've phantom DL'd Nolan Gorman, who, by the way, in 8 at-bats is batting .500 with 1 nuke with 1 RBI and an OPS of 1.5. But let's phantom DL him for 15 days and let Thomas Segasi come up, who's done fuck all, and let Victor Scott and Mason Wynn, and I can't knock on Brendan Donovan. Brendan Donovan's been playing lights out. Let's let Alec Burleson, who's done nothing, continue to bat in the lineup as a DH. Gorman is, if you're not going to put him at second base, Gorman is your DH. I'm sorry. I mean, the guy goes 3 for 4 with a solo nuke against Minnesota, and then goes 1 for 4 against the Angels. I mean, we give him 2 games. The guy goes and bats .500, and we're just gonna throw him on the DL with no causation. Like, there is no list as to why he's there. He's just there. Nothing that I've seen. And correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but it's just, to me, it seems different. We need starting pitching. I mean, the starting pitching looks horrendous right now. Sonny Gray is the only guy with any ounce of life in him. I think Ryan Helsley will come around in the bullpen. I do think we need some bullpen help. So if it were up to me, you got Aaron out of there. Use him, trade him, move him, get starting pitching, get some bullpen pieces, get what you can for him pre-trade deadline. Check. I'm going to bring this up later because it's going to throw. No, I think I brought this up last week. Did we talk about Bauer last week?
I think, you talked about that he's available.
So, yeah, Bauer's available. Get him. Sign him. I don't care if he's throwing pupukaka in Japan or Mexico. Get him. He can at least throw a ball and throw it for strikes. Like, get him. I still don't understand why teams won't pick him up. Like, locker room problems aside, the guy's good for business. With that going on, we've got need a lot to go right for Pitt to go anywhere. Sure, there's a few things. Bolster the pen, offensive help. This is from RB6 Little Kreider on Twitch. Swing a trade for consistency, a consistent power bat for Pittsburgh. So we have some stuff throwing in from the chat.
We do need a consistent power bat, but I mean, a lot of that is just going to be dependent on, the situations. I mean, Reynolds today hit one pretty far. Jack Sawinski hit one in Miami that was definitely a home run, but got robbed on the wall. I agree that we need somebody that needs power, but we need somebody that's power, but also that's going to consistently hit with power. And that's something last year they went out and they got Rowdy, which I love Rowdy. He had the power, but it wasn't consistent. So it's got to be consistent, whatever it's going to be.
Yep. He also mentions if the cards are below 500 at the deadline, Helsley is likely gone. I'd be shocked to see that. Right now, he's their number 1 guy coming out of the pen as far as closer, and we don't have anybody else that can fill that role. However, I will say if they do move him, that is going to signal to all Cardinals fans that we are full send rebuild period.
Yeah.
Um,
Also,
yeah,
Nolan Gorman is on the DL with a hamstring injury.
for
Hamstring
doing
strain.
what? For doing what? He played 2 games and then was put on the DL 3 days after his game.
I mean, Nick Gonzalez broke his ankle swinging for a home run, so.
I mean, it is what it is. Hey, we're going to move on to the next subject here, and there's a guest we'd like to introduce, and he is comes out of New York, but surprisingly, not a New York guy.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
go ahead
crazy.
and bring him up to the stage here. Everybody, put your hands together for Isaac.
How you doing, everyone? Yes, that is right. When I first was getting baptized, my pastor has said, put him a little longer. He needs to get the Red Sox out of him. True story. So, yes, I am a Red Sox fan from New York City. And that came about from just my dad, just being around the Red Sox organization just allowed me to become a fan. And New York City itself, it's very diverse when it comes to being a fan, when it comes to football or when it comes to hockey. But when it comes to basketball, it's like, you you get looked at if you're not a fan of New York, if it's basketball or baseball. But you could be a San Francisco fan, out 49ers fan, or you could be for hockey. What's like we got a lot of San Jose Sharks fans, but
Oh,
the minute you switch up teams, yeah, baseball and basketball in New York City, it's like, oh yeah, like get this guy out of here. I have been told to move to Boston plenty of times. It's crazy.
Yeah, Yankee fans are super loyal. Experienced that this weekend. That
Yeah.
was crazy.
Listen. The thing, and that, like, you brought up, like, the fan base of the Yankees, right? When you got, obviously New York City tourism is huge. So the minute they fly in, they're gonna get a Yankees cap, right? When I fly to Puerto Rico, the first thing you're gonna see is a Yankee cap. Okay, like Yankees been around for so long that they pretty much taken the hearts of tourists. They taken the hearts because, like, when
Yeah.
they think of baseball, they think of the Yankees because of how long they've been lasting around in the MLB. But
Yeah.
I would say, though, because of the Mets' latest runs, there's been a fight of Mets fans coming up. Like right by me, they just opened up a Mets field house, and almost every weekend is getting jam packed in there. And then you could get
Interesting.
free. You could get tickets for fee free in there. So a
Really.
lot of fans are going in and getting some fee free tickets. I mean, who would love to pay an extra $60 on a couple
Yeah.
platforms? I'm not gonna name names, but
Hey, they got to recoup that Juan Soto contract though.
Right. I mean, well, listen, the term "money can't buy happiness" is is a touchy model. I mean, line, but you know it. It money does bring its possible chances of getting a World Series. One
Oh
thing
yeah,
I
you
just
don't have
want
to
to
tell me
mention is
twice.
just like the reason why, like, if you look at New York teams, of why we're throwing so much money towards players is because not many people realize, but yes, they do make a lot of money because of tourism and things like that. But another thing to take an account of is New York state tax, right? If you want players to live in New York state taxes are they suck. They really suck. So they have to bring good enough contracts since they're losing millions and millions of dollars. So they can stay happy in New York.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, the money thing, you don't have to tell me twice. That's that's
Right. Yeah, you know.
that's a pain point for me. Yeah. So,
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
but
So,
overall, just welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. Excited that
thank
you're
you,
our
Zach
first
and
guest.
Christian. I love to talk baseball, so this is awesome that you guys brought me here. I really appreciate this
Absolutely,
opportunity.
yeah. Isaac and I have a little bit of history behind us too with baseball type social media when it comes to I think when we were both in high school we were running um, a
MLB update.
an MLB updates fan page with
Mm-hmm.
wraparound content from the entire league. Obviously, we picked our own teams and then we did the entire league. And
Mm-hmm.
now we've got the ability to podcast. Now it's not just Facebook anymore.
Right.
It's a little bit of everything. So it's
Mm-hmm.
nice to get Isaac on the show and kind of get him going there.
Yep.
Both these gentlemen were in my wedding. I mean, I've been very close to both these folks as we move along through our lives, and it's very nice to see both these guys thriving. um, Isaac, let's dive right in, man. Let's talk about the Red Sox. Touch on your team's first weeks. Give us
All
a
right.
prediction for the year, and what are your team needs?
Oh man, so let me tell you, man. One thing I did see for the chat. Let's see. This is RB6. You know, Red Sox a World Series contender this year. That's a good question. We are a very young team, considering how much we hold tradition of having veterans on the team. But it's early in the year. You know what I'm saying? But we do need everyone to play their part, right? Whether you're a young rookie to an older veteran, you have to play your part. I mean, we kind of seen that in the first series against Texas, right? When Rafael Devers couldn't hit a ball, right, to save himself. And honestly, it was still close games. Now that Rafi's hitting, Bregman is hitting, even Jerry Duran is getting on base more often. I think like prior to his last at bat, he was an OPS of 561. So he is getting on base. You know, I mean, that's obviously the point of the game. But, you know, everybody just needs to be consistent and needs to stay hot, right? There's no such thing as a World Series team of just veterans that's playing their part and then rookies are not doing anything, right? Everybody have to play their part. Team needs we still gotta find an ace, man. I know Crochet is having one heck of a year. You know, we just signed for an extension, but is he really the ace? I'm not sure yet. You know, he still has to prove just a little more. You know, and we do also need a stronger arm bullpen, man. I mean, just off coming off this Cardinals game, let me give credit to the Cardinals right here, okay? They are hitting 10 plus hits in every single game so far. So, to their
Just need that
credit,
clutch stick. Yeah, just need that
yep,
clutch stick somewhere.
right. And, to their credit, that's what they need, right? Need hits and we need runs. So for us to give up 4 runs to make it 7-18, it's like, all right, even though we're winning a ton, we're giving up runs, right? We have to minimize that, right? So, can they go far into the playoffs? We'll see. I do think that we need to get just a couple more signings or monitorize the AA and AAA farm systems very closely because we need to make some moves quickly in order to stay hot and consistent.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I know you guys we made a trade with the Red Sox last year, Quinn Priester for Nick York. So I know you guys got
Man, trades
a
must be
arm in
nice.
there, but yeah, I know Quinn Priester's got some good stuff. He's been inconsistent at times, but maybe he's somebody that could help your rotation out there. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
What are your thoughts on Quinn Priester? You think he can help your rotation out? You think he's going to
I
fit
would
in
hope.
there at all?
I would hope because right now I'm looking at this rotation and it's like,
It's a lot of young names I've noticed.
it's a lot of young names. Yes,
a lot of young
it's
names.
a lot of young names. That's what I'm saying. We kind of need another veteran in there. Honestly, we need another veteran in there to really guide, because these are the future of our, our organization. When you look at the lineup, Jerry Duran is still young. Rafael Devers is still young. Okay, like people got to understand, like, yeah, he's been in the league for a while, but I'm older than him by like 3 or 4 years.
When's the last
Okay,
time you guys went to the World Series? It was 2004, right? Last time you guys made a run? You guys won it
No,
all. I thought it was
no.
so
more recent than that, but
yeah, what, World Series?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was more
So
recent.
it's
Is it 04?
04, 07,
07.
13,
And then 13.
13,
Yeah.
and 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
so
Yeah, those odd, weird years, I always seem to they blank my mind. You know what I mean?
I remember I used to rock this T-shirt much younger. It says 04 plus 07 equal 2011. So that was like the biggest, like, well, that T-shirt's thrown out by now, but I mean, we were grateful to get 13 and 17 or
Yeah,
18.
13 should be a pain point for you, Zach. That's
13, listen, 13 was one of those years where I had kind of spaced on baseball at the moment because that's when Pujols made his move to Anaheim. So I was kind of checked out when it came to baseball around those couple of years immediately following. Because they did, and this seems to be a trend in St. Louis. They win a World Series and they let everybody walk.
yeah.
They win a Stanley Cup, they let everybody walk. You know what I mean? So I'd love to see the Cardinals go back. I'd love to see a matchup in the playoffs between the Cards, the Pirates. I'd love to see a World Series between the Cards, the Red Sox. I'd love to see a World Series between Pittsburgh and the Guards. Like I'd love to see a mashup of different teams in the World Series. Obviously it's not realistic to want you can want your team to go to the World Series every, but it's not realistic to expect them to win it every single year. However, and this is going to take us into our next kind of topic here as we move forward. Teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees, man, with what they're spending and the technology that they're building, kind of seems like they are going to win the World Series every year. Let's dive into these torpedo bats, man. What are the takes on these?
Oh man, I would love to chime in on this one with torpedo bats, man. This is not for. I mean, if you're a really, really big baseball fan that really gets involved around with technology, this is not new. Okay, torpedo bats has been around at least for the last 2 years. I have seen it been used last year or the prior 2 years actually. The only reason why this has been the talk of the town was because of the performance that Yankees has put out. Okay, if you look at that 9 home run game, 3 of them have been with a torpedo bat. Okay. So that's why, has become a big topic, because it's like, all right, 3 guys is hitting home runs. Okay. But let's put a pause here. Okay. It's Yankee Stadium. Okay. This is a high school size field, in my opinion. I'm not saying this to become a Yankee hater, but it's the truth. Like, and everybody knows that. On top of that, the Yankee ball field is actually below sea level, so all the wind that's picking up from the rooftop coming down to the field ricochets up, right?
Oh,
And
and the
that's
Guards
what
did something similar to that with their stadium when they opened up those walls and made those balls fly a little bit better.
exactly,
Because all
and
that wind from the lake rips through the top of that stadium. They gave it the space to actually come through the stadium now.
right, and
And
when you look at Colorado, there's a reason why Colorado's field is huge, right?
yeah,
They're up in altitude, so that ball's flying, but at least they compensate by having a huge field. Like, that's a really huge field to play with, right? Now, in terms with the torpedo bat, the MLB rule is, you can find this in section 1.10a. The bat is supposed to be one solid piece of wood with the bat diameter to be no more than 261. So if you're erasing the top part of your bat and bringing it more towards the barrel, as long as not past 261, you're good, right? Again, people are just not used to nocturnal bats. Remember when axe bats used to be such a big thing,
yeah. I
right?
mean, take a look here, guys. Like,
Yeah.
it's 2.6, 2.56. compared to the standard 2.443. If you guys know who the Baseball Bat Bros are, go give them a look. There's some great folks over there. Will and his crew do a fantastic job with a lot of the wood bat reviews they do, and as well as other bats, especially if you're a high school hitter or somebody coming up in the juniors and can't quite figure out what bat you want to get. They do pretty good recaps on their sticks, but they did a nice little comparison here. Louisville Slugger, Ronald Acuna Turnstile. It's 2.43 inches in the barrel diameter at the biggest part. It is 2.56 here. So they round up 2.6 compared to the 2.43, 7% increase of the max barrel diameter. Now they've just moved it down a little bit. Now what are your thoughts, takes, on that?
I mean, in general, for me, I mean, as far as the torpedo bat goes, just in general, just to point out a couple things too, is that this weekend with the Yankees and the Pirates, not a single home run was hit with a torpedo bat. So, I mean, do I think that maybe it was helping them on pitches on the inside a little bit, maybe get to the ball a little bit sooner, maybe not have them be fouled off, maybe, but to me, honestly, even as like the person that technically would be the fan base against them, like it's more fun, honestly. I mean, put the ball in play more, make things happen. If it's a home runs are good for the game. I think it just keeps everything exciting. Everybody goes to see home runs anyway, so if it's going to increase the numbers a little bit, so be it. I mean, just in general, I think it's a good overall ad, and I do wish that maybe like it was communicated to all the teams to get ahead of the curve, but I mean, it's the gamesmanship of the game, so you can't really be mad on it. It's just every team's gonna have them in the next 2-3 weeks anyway, so
Yeah,
it'll be even playing field by then.
Yeah, so and here's my kind of take with them there. Again, Will ran some tests on them. The numbers are the exact same. Exit velo average between the normal Ronald Acuna Turnstile and the torpedo shape barrel. Exit velo average was 103.6 for both. The distance average, same. 103.6 puts their distance average at 421. It's still a piece of wood. Now the difference is where they're hitting that wood on the ball, or where that particularly that ball is hitting the wood on the bat. I just picked one up myself for my own rec league just to give it a try. It's a more balanced feel, in my opinion. It's not so much weight now out at the end. If you're one of those guys that likes to barrel up the ball, not so much out at the end, or if you get jammed up a bit, this is a bat for you. If you're one of those guys that is constantly making solid contact towards the end of the barrel, I mean, it's not going to change your exit velos. It's not going to provide a boost. All it's doing, really, in my eyes, it's the weight at the end of the barrel kind of gets shifted down the bat a little bit, underneath those letters, a little closer to that label. So if you do get ridden up on a little bit, you're not getting sawed off every time you swing the bat.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think, again, if you got a bad swing, it's not going to fix your swing. A $4 million bat's not going to fix a $2 swing. But at the same time, a lot of guys barrel up balls just underneath those letters, just beyond the label there. That's where a lot of hits come from, and being able to put all that mass there just provides a little bit extra oomph there, just to kind of get it more evenly squared up. Essentially, all they're doing is moving the sweet spot down a little closer to the hands, makes it a little more balanced feel, less worry about a G-hag. You can get your turnaround a bit tighter. Again, the numbers with the Baseball Bat Bros, again, go take a look at them. Those numbers came out dead even. There is no advantage here other than simply, where do you like it? Do you barrel it up out at the end with the traditional, or do you prefer to get it in a little bit?
I mean, I think for guys that get jammed a lot, it's going to help them just get I don't know, like a rotation a little bit better, get to the balls a little sooner, or not sooner, but like get to it and make like better contact. So it's going to get in play more. It's going to be I don't know. It's gonna be a little bit more exciting for the game. I think just keep stuff in. I mean, I know everybody wants to see pitchers like excel, but also those games where you're sitting there for 9 innings and it's like, okay, we've had one runner on first base like every inning and they've never even passed. So it just, to me, it'll make the game more exciting. I think. I don't think there's really a downside to the torpedo bat. That's just how I feel it. All right. And then just to recap here. So we did skip over. So Isaac, I am gonna have you rank your top 5 ballparks for
Oh,
me.
okay. So, so far, I just want to say I have been lucky enough to visit 12. Well, currently, 2 of them is standing. Okay. The ones that I have visited before was Montreal.
Nice.
I had visited Old Arlington. But for the rest of the stadiums, excuse me, that would be 13. I have Blue Jays that I just visited last year. My top 5. All right, I'm going 5-1 here. Okay.
Okay.
Number 5, I am going to go with the Blue Jays. It has a different aesthetic feel. It's nice to be out of the country a little bit, visit Canada. It was a great city, hands down. One of my favorite cities to visit. And the ballpark was pretty nice, It brings that Canadian feel, right? To have a hotel in center field, I think I want to, revisit that field and watch a ball game in my hotel room. Like that would be
That'd
so
be cool.
awesome to have. If I'm not mistaken, I believe somebody from the Orioles chucked the ball perfectly right through the hotel doors of a guest. So that's an amazing thing to have. But other than that, having, I'm a little bit of a foodie, so it's cool to have some Canadian snacks and poutine out there, authentic poutine at that, right? And
Yeah.
so I really enjoyed that ballpark. Number 4, I had to put this into thought because I do have my 1, 2, 3. With number 4, I might have to go with the Phillies. It's pretty. It has sharp angles, right? This stadium has pretty sharp angles. They're behind the plate is very unique, where it's not round, right? But other than that, it's a pretty good ballpark. Cheesesteaks is pretty good out there. I heard they made some major changes, so that's another one may have to revisit. I've been there twice, but those 2 times it never failed. But my top 3. So number 3, I'm going in with the Cards, man. Ballpark Village. I loved it, man. I loved it. I've been to St. Louis 3 times now, and I really enjoyed it. If big barbecue guy like myself, the variety was there. You know what I'm saying? Like it was nothing wrong with some nice St. Louis barbecue and hot summer day with a nice cold beer in your hand. Like it really brought that baseball feeling, which I really, really loved. Right.
Yeah.
But then
Absolutely.
moving with number 2, I will have to go with the Red Sox. And it's the same feeling. However, it brings back the historical aspect of it, right? And what I loved about Massachusetts is specifically in the city of Boston, there's a law where if you were to tore down anything or modify anything that's deemed historical, you have to go through a long, lengthy process for it, right? And so to preserve history and going back to the roots of our wonderful ball and stick game, Red Sox hands down got that. I really enjoy it, and the modifications that they're having on it, with the new music hall behind center field. I know they had a beer garden at one point towards right field. They're not deleting history; they're adding on, which I love so much because, which will bring to my number 1, and because of the way how the Red Sox has been adding on things to their ballpark, it's becoming like a mini campus, right? And I love a big campus, so I'm gonna have to go with number one, Atlanta, the newest Atlanta field. It's a great ballpark, man. I mean, you will have Chick-fil-A everywhere, but the campus behind right field, I love it. I love this so much. You know, you got a jazz club there. There was another nightclub attached to it. There's a hotel, the Omni Hotel, that's out there. And even you know, if you don't want to pay the Omni price, you know,
Well,
there's
I've been at
still.
another Omni. I think we went over to. Oh, I can't remember where we were at. There was another Omni hotel that we were at. It's a very nice spot. It's a very nice spot.
In Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that
Down in
one's
that
right by
area.
the Benz Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one that when I had a chance to work with I was out in the one in center field. Great service. When you step outside behind right field, let's say you didn't get tickets. However, there's so many different sports bars with different themes. And as you walk around the campus behind right field, you could still listen to the game. Right? You could be 4 blocks back
Oh yeah.
from right field and they got the game on throughout the whole walk path. So you got some like Fat Tuesdays is there. They got things for kids like Escape the Room. They have a little movie theater and things like that. So I just love a good campus. If you make a reason for baseball fans who don't feel like going inside the game can still hang around and enjoy the pregame and the postgame stuff. They hands down brought that up. I do want to make an honorable mention though. This stadium I was really impressed when I went 2 years ago, and that would be the Detroit Tigers. Tigers was very unique. Right near home plate, they had a little merry-go-round, and around the merry-go-round was so many food varieties. So, if you needed halal food, they had halal food. They had pastas, different types of pastas in this Italian restaurant. I mean, Little Caesars headquarters there. That's where they're from.
Yeah.
So,
Dad and I went to Detroit last year and we popped into a Tigers game. I was kind of impressed with how, for at the time they weren't doing so well, but I was kind of impressed. The stadium turnout was pretty good. The
it's a
food,
nice little stadium. It brings a
yeah,
little home feel.
the
And
food was great. The food
yeah,
was
it was
great.
great.
The
Phenomenal.
selection was huge. They had some barbecue there that I had
Yep, the
tried. I mean,
barbecue was the first thing I went for.
I sampled a little bit of everything while I was there. It was fantastic.
Right.
I had
And
no complaints.
it's such a good family field.
Oh yeah.
Like in case your kids want to do like what is it called? They're like a Wonder Wheel, right?
Yeah.
They have like a
Mhm.
little baseball
Those
Tigers
wheel
Wonder Wheel.
spins. Yeah.
You just bring your kid there, and then right to the left of it is a beer garden that has 70 selections of local beers. So they have made a really good home feel for both the kids and the adult to enjoy the ball game. So that's what my honorable mention will be, Detroit.
Nice. Yeah, that's a solid list there. It's completely different, I think, than Zach's and I's list, which is it's kind of nice to get a different opinion from around the league.
I would say there's a couple of stadiums down I will be visiting down the line. Obviously, I'm gonna go to every single one, but that's my list just based off experience. Some of them I really can't wait for is like Rockies. Like, come on, like some sunset views behind with the Rocky Mountains and some baseball. Like that's really great to have. So I'm looking forward to do Colorado down the line. Another stadium I'm looking forward to. You know what? I would have to go with San Diego.
San
I have to go with
Diego,
San Diego.
yeah.
I've seen many pictures of it. A lot of people told me they really enjoyed it. The building that's right there on left field. They've been in there. Some has been into the deepest part where there's a building that has stadium seats up in their roof that looks
Yep.
into Petco
Yeah.
Park. So
Yeah, it's another fantastic ballpark. Um, let's go through the chat a little bit here. We've got a couple of things from Little Kreider. Rotation was good last year for the Red Sox. They added Crochet, Bueller, Giolito's coming back, revamped the bullpen. That lineup is dangerous.
Yes.
On the topic of torpedo bats, guy had a bad swing. I don't believe the torpedo will fix, quote unquote, their swing, and I believe it might help them a small percentage of the time. I concur there.
Yeah. It's like the Brewers manager said,
yeah.
it's the magician, not the wand.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, rolling kind of right into our next topic here. We've kind of got we don't have a name for it yet, but Beer League Hotline, right? We're gonna kind of leave that up to the chat. You guys can throw a name for this, pulling some Reddit stories in until we get some of our own people sending us some stuff regarding their own men's league, that kind of thing. So here's one from Reddit. Guys, I joined a 30+ league. I've been going to practice and games since April. Everybody on the team is nice, but I'm not getting much playing time. I'm definitely the least experienced player on the team, but I practice a lot outside of the games, and I'm definitely a better fielder than several of the other guys who have been on the team longer / and are friends with the coach. I asked the coach about playing more, and he said he was trying to figure out how to get me in the lineup. Essentially, though, if the game is close, he'd want the better players in. Not exact words, but that was the idea. I actually don't disagree with the theory in that. The other side of it is it's also a pay-to-play league, and the team isn't that good anyways. We're 2-10 last year, and we're 2-10 this year so far, and last year they were 4-17. I'm not going to get better if I don't play, and it kind of felt like shit that he basically told me he just sees me as a backup. When everybody else gets substantially more playing time, even if they don't actually play better than me. Other players also have issues with wanting to play in different positions, but they do eventually get to play more than me. I think the coach means well, and I think he's just focused on getting the absolute best from the best players from the free agent pool and reclaiming his old glory of being a star player in the league. He always has a story about how he used to play, etc. Ironically, the coach seems really like me personally, asks me how my week's going, talks to me about baseball cards, etc. He just doesn't let me play. Anybody ever run into this situation in a pay-to-play league?
This is interesting because, every league is different, right? And this is where we will have to say, you got to do your homework when it comes to certain leagues, right? This is a problem I have gone through myself, being a manager here in New York City. It's not age specific, but there is a lot of ego that comes around when it comes to this, right? And sometimes you just got to understand yourself. If you're a ball player that's just coming back, never played in high school for years, trying to slowly get back. If you're trying to join a squad that's looking to win, that might not be the squad for you, right?
Yeah.
There's some guys' attitudes that is like, oh, I'm here just to play, just to enjoy. But there's other people that's like, hey, I'm here to win.
Right. Yeah, so, they're home away from home, kind of a little bit of an escape.
Right. So you have to do your homework when it comes to joining leagues, man. And try another league, not another league, but another team amongst the league. And if it doesn't work out, then I don't want to be that type of person. Like, hey, get better, kid. Because you just never know who's gonna be around these rec leagues. Like in our rec league, we got a team called Too Hot. And this team specifically has rehabbing minor leaguers, right? So if we're playing up against them, we gotta
kind of like when Jason Worth pulled up to that men's league one night and just hit nothing but swamp donkeys the entire
There you go.
Night, dude.
I think my last fall game, the starting pitcher for them played in the Nippon leagues up in Japan. So again, you just never know. It's all about the environment. And once you are in an environment where you want to play, baseball for enjoyment, I would recommend looking into Sandlot Revolution. For those who's not familiarized with Sandlot Revolution, it's a national organization that's trying to promote all dirt fields to give that Sandlot movie feel. And just to come in, play ball, and enjoy it, and enjoy the history of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian, how about you?
Just for me personally, like I'm not super experienced with teams and whatnot as far as baseball go, but just in general, the whole like ego thing. If somebody's giving you like the ego challenge, it might be best to move on. I mean, find something else. I mean, me personally, like I run a soccer team, and it's I don't know. I don't think anybody on my team specifically has a ego, so it's kind of easy for us. We kind of just flow with the flow, and everybody kind of knows their rules. I don't really have to speak too much to it. So I mean, in that situation though, if it was me personally, I'd maybe finding another league for the next year or something. Just communicating with maybe the other teams or something. I mean, if it's pay to play, yeah, I mean, you would probably want to play. So it's it might be best to find somewhere else that's going to let you spend your money and get what you want to get out of it. Because at the end of the day, it's your money. So
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. To a certain extent. So like I run my own team here in my local area, and um there's no restriction on playing time. And that's the case for a lot of different leagues. If I were you, so now, and here's probably kind of the difference between me and them. I try to get all my players playing time. They will always get opportunities to play, to perform, to do something every day, every game. It may not be the entire game. It may not be 4, 5, 6 innings. It may be an inning or two here, an inning or two there. But they're always going to get a couple at bats. They're always going to get a chance in the field, um, a chance to provide, right, produce for the team. Not maybe a little bit different with this particular manager. I'd just be straight with him. I'd come up to him and say, "Hey, look, I'm not getting any playing time. What's the scoop? Can you get me in here? Can you get me in there?" Also, the other side of that too is, what's your roster size? If you got 20 guys showing up every single game, I mean, sheesh, you're gonna be hard pressed, especially if you're not one of the better guys. You're gonna be hard pressed to find any playing time, especially if it is a competitive league and you're trying to win. Now, if it is just Sandlot style ball, there's no reason you guys shouldn't all be getting playing time. But I mean, I'd put it to them and say, hey, look, if I'm not getting any playing time, like, I don't know if you guys have rules about jumping ship mid-season or going to find other teams, but there are other teams out there. Go talk to them. Every time you play a team, keep coming to the games you're at, on the team that you're on. Talk to the team on the other side and say, hey, I'm not getting any playing time. You guys got space. Find out the scoop. Find out the league. Get the lay of the land with your league, and just kind of go from there. Get yourself back on the free agent list. There's always ways to stay in the game. And if you're not getting that kind of where you're at, just it might be time to kind of move on to the next team. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Cool.
I totally agree on that one. All right, you got another one for us, or you want to move on to the next topic?
I can pull. Let me see what I can. Let me see what I can
Yeah.
drum up here.
Let's do one more. Kind of, and then we'll go into the next topic there.
Let's see here. All right, mid-30s wanting to play in a men's league to scratch the baseball itch. How do I get started? For some context, lifelong athlete here has really gotten into watching baseball the past 5 years. So much so that I kind of regret not having gotten into it in high school and even earlier. It looks like the exact sport I've always looked for so many reasons. With that said, I've also begun taking my significant other to the cages for fun here and there, even spent some money on a good bat for me and her, and pondered the possibility of perhaps playing for real. I just don't know how to get there. Should I just start tee hitting at my local park? Any tips or stories or similar backgrounds who eventually got to scratch their itch to play ball would be much appreciated. Thanks, guys. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to, just pretty much circle what I've said earlier. You just got to do your homework. There's teams that practice together, and there's teams who don't. So if you really want to be committed to something, and this person sounds like they want to win, definitely find a team that's willing to work with you, and basically chime in with you, and from there it will just take off.
Yeah, I mean, just for me in general, like, I don't necessarily want to say like that, like I've never had that itch to play, but like I have the itch to play, but also I'm in a situation where like I can go watch Zach's team play and go to their practices and stuff like that, and just like get in with a group of guys that play and just see what they do to play and how like you should approach it. Go play with them or practice with them, and eventually it's going to happen. It's more along the lines of just being around people who play, and they'll bring you into it. They'll coach you up. They'll teach you. They'll show you what you need to do. I mean, Zach's literally in with a group of guys every single week, and they're having fun just playing and helping each other grow. It's like it's kind of cool just to kind of see that whole thing go down. It's nice. It's a cool experience.
So we got a message in from the chat. Shark Life hit a 360-foot bomb over the center field wall and is in 7th grade at a high school field. Shark, I don't know any 360-foot porches in high school. They all tend to push a little closer to that 380, 400 mark. But hey, that's a nice shot for 7th grade. You guys using them hype fires down there at that level? What do you guys got? The bats nowadays, especially at the younger age, man, they've gotten insane. I mean, we're starting to go back towards the orange stealth era. He's got an icon. That's Easton, right? It's been a minute since I've had to use metal bats, but I don't know. Isaac, you remember those old orange stealths that we used to use?
Oh man,
in high school, dude,
stealths,
we were pimp jobbing. Icon, Rawlings icon.
You got Black Magics. You got the carbon bats.
I found my Black Magic in the garbage in Little League, bro. I picked that thing up and it was pimp job city with that thing, bro. That bat was the finest bat I ever owned until I got my hands on a teammate's orange stealth, and then that thing was just nuclear.
Yeah. I mean, shucks, man. I remember when carbon bats used to also be a thing from Easton with the green label, and
yeah.
Had to start banning it because some of those bat diameters were like 275. And then you were just
those things were
just tapping it and just flying off like a tennis ball with a huge racket. Flying nonchalantly in the air. Man, I mean, back then, when we were playing as kids, there weren't like special labels either. There weren't like USA Baseball, Pony, or what's another big stamp that's going on right now?
BB Core was when I was in high school.
BB Core high school, yep. That's still kind of around.
Beeser. It was Beeser. BB Core is now. It was the BESR bats. We're in high school.
Oh yes.
You and I were in high school.
Yep.
It's BB Core now.
Yeah, and then there's also the USSSA.
U-Trips. Yeah. So many different stamps for all the different compressions and things like that.
Right. And it's interesting because when, I'm also a high school coach and, ordering some bats for the team, there's some like identical bats.
Let me see.
That have the same stamps. It's the same bat, but different stamps. So I found that to be very interesting today. But we're all wood bat guys now. So can't say much about
wood
bats anymore. New York City, high school, they play wood. So
yeah, actually in high school now in New York.
Yeah, so that rule came about when there was been a series of attacks with metal bats. So when they switched over to wood bats, this was back in, I believe, 09, 08. When they switched over to wood bats, crime with assault with bats had went down significantly.
That's wild. That's wild.
So since
actually
the late 2000s, it's been wow.
I still have this thing, dude.
Wow.
This thing's at drop 10, bro.
I gotta look through all my old bats. Yeah.
This thing is a relic. This was my Little League bat, and there is not a stamp in sight.
No,
not a stamp in sight on this bat.
Whatever you find from Modell's or whatever sporting goods store that you had back then, that was it. There was no stamps.
Like this was approved for play at the pony level, dude. Like,
well, every single bat has that. It was, approved for play at the Babe Ruth, Pony, Little League.
this is 29 inches, 19 ounces, 2.25 barrels diameter. Youth baseball with the ultra thin handle. And that's kind of where I started liking the ultra thin handles.
That's
with
me too.
my
And
with all my
that goes back to our talks with with the torpedo bat. It's like, if you look at Mitch Haniger's model, he swings with a thin handle, a thick barrel.
yeah.
I believe his barrel is about 255, so it's just a little thick on than the normal like 243s. But yeah, I can't believe you have that, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I swing like my gamer right now is this Victus, right? 243 turn, and it's again that ultra thin handle. Like it's just got the flared knob now.
Yep.
Whereas like these ones don't have that flared knob. But like, yeah, dude, like
I'm hoping Shark is still watching this. I would say there's a $100 bat called Rawling Threat. I've used that in college. Let me tell you, it's a really great bat. Not saying the Icon is not, because I love the Icon too. I had swung a couple of Icon swings, but search up the Threat, and that's actually another good one there.
Yeah, so I'd be interested to know where that field has 360-foot center field wall. Though to be fair, we do have one field over by us, and Isaac, you've been there at Schwartz Park. I mean, it's 300 feet all around. You know what I mean? It's home run derby there every time we play.
Right.
So
shout out to my boy JD, cranking 2 over.
Facts, dude. All right, let's roll into the next segment here, and we got the double play. It's a little bit of a whole league wrap up. I'm going to turn it over to Christian and kind of talk there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going into what's kind of going on in baseball right now. So I'm just going to go through our division leaders here and just kind of pull up what's kind of going on. So in general here, give me 1 second here. So right now we got the Yankees. Obviously, they're coming off of beating the Pirates this weekend. Obviously, Yankees are hitting home runs like it's nobody's business. I was actually really surprised this week. Trent Grisham was an absolute stud against the Pirates. Every time he stepped up to hit, it was just a clutch hit, and it just overall he's off to a hot start, and it's looking like it's going to be a good year to be a Yankees fan, unfortunately. So, although the Red Sox are close behind them still after their series with the Cardinals, so.
I mean, Trent also had that San Diego Padres experience, so that really helps out when you're crossing over.
Castellanos had a grand salami today in the 3rd inning against the Dodgers. The Phillies came out on top there, 8-7. Everybody call your families. Everybody check on your children. Everybody check the news.
Tariffs also went up?
Make sure that like 9/11 2.0 didn't happen or anything like that. Like let's make sure everybody's safe and sound and secure. Nick Castellanos only hits nukes when bad things happen. Somebody call Japan, make sure everything's good there. Like,
you don't touch Japan.
Yo, for real.
It did happen shortly after Ovi
Malaysia
topped Gretzky. So maybe that was the tragic event. I don't know.
I don't know if that's so tragic.
Shout out to Ovechkin, man, looking for 900.
I think he can do it. I think he can get there, and I think he'll do it against Columbus. Hot take. There it is. There's my hot take in sports for today.
Yeah, Phillies are 7-2 though, so they're definitely off to a good start. The Cubs in the Central are off to a 7-5 start. Pretty much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they played the Reds though, so it's.
Yeah, can we give a shout out to Texas, man?
What about them?
Texas 8-2, man. They're hot.
They're hanging. Yeah.
They're
see,
hot right now.
Here's the thing. MLB has them listed number 5 on power rankings. Number 5 on the power rankings. Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees, Padres, Rangers in that order.
I mean, but you got to look at the strength of schedule. You know, they are the AL West, and in my
That's
opinion,
true.
that's the weakest division right now.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, I'll
just take
agree.
advantage, win that division, and get yourself a good place in playoffs.
Is it too early to hit the panic button though on the Braves?
Too
1-8
early.
to start the year?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've got some pieces that still need to come back. And once we see those there, I think it'll.
We have 162 games, and I remember when I was actually my first time in Atlanta, they were just a barely over 500 team. This was the same year
Well,
that
it's
they
just
won the
like the
World
Tigers
Series.
last year. The Tigers
Oh,
tore
yeah.
it up late last year,
Mhm.
to get in. And I mean, hey, they look solid so far this year. They begin a 3-game stretch with the Yankees in Detroit. The White Sox, they're on a pretty miserable streak right now, and they're looking to kind of clean up in that series against Cleveland. So maybe those two teams can kind of turn some things around.
White Sox just don't want to lose 100 games like they did last year.
Oh boy. Oh
It's gonna
boy.
be
And they want a
interesting.
new stadium at that. It's like,
Truth. Well, here's my kind of thing, like with the White Sox, or I'm sorry, the Tigers too, though. Like they took down the Tigers on the stadium on the scoreboard. I'm a
oh,
little
did they
miffed.
really?
I'm a little miffed about that. Those were like the coolest things. Like we went during a night game when I went. Those Tigers lights light up, the eyes light up, they glow green.
Right.
Oh, it's super cool stuff. And they're taking that stuff down to put what is it, the marketing stuff up there. The
Of course.
yeah, welcome to baseball.
Yeah. Speaking
Um,
speaking on the marketing real quick, I want to get your guys' opinion on this. So the Pirates have been flamed on social media for taking down the Roberto Clemente symbol on the Clemente wall and replacing it with an ad for a tonic beer company.
yeah, I don't care what beer company you are. We do not mess with our legends in the game. Okay. I'm pretty sure St. Louis still has all their retired legends on the left field wall in Busch, painted on the wall. I mean, there's just things that you don't do. There's just things that you don't do.
So the Pirates did respond, and they said they're going to put the Roberto Clemente symbol back up on the.
That's
Clemente
the only option
wall.
they have.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get they're trying to pull up ad revenue, and this was only a.
There's ways to do it, though. There's ways to do
Throw
it.
it on the scoreboard. That scoreboard's
Exactly.
massive. Throw it on the scoreboard somewhere for 3, 4, 5 innings.
Or even center field.
The whole screen is an ad.
What about the
It's
batter's
massive.
eye wall?
Like,
well, I don't know if they can touch the batter's eye.
I don't know if they're allowed to touch the batter's eye. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
Well, it's like you could put like a mesh design over.
Well,
it.
I mean, you could.
You mean honestly? You know what I think they should do? So in the past, they had the poles that came up behind the Clemente wall, where they would put like Pepsi ads.
Yeah,
So
why not continue that?
Just bring that back and put them up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of stadiums, let's talk about Tampa really quickly. What's going on with Tampa? I mean, is the city just not interested in refixing Tropicana?
I was so
Are we tearing it
disappointed.
down? I mean, what's going on in Tampa? I mean, for the first time in a long time, baseball in Tampa is being played under the sun.
Listen,
yeah,
my thing with this is that, you know, I feel like it's going to be another Oakland situation. If Tampa Bay and Tampa and Clearwater fans of the Tampa Bay Rays will be angry if they see their team leave, will support them, because you have, I get it. The stadium that they have now is an eyesore. But you know, you got to support your team. If it doesn't happen, hey, you know, I could see them moving back to Montreal, because, you know, Montreal wants to have another team back. And
I think another Expos would be fantastic, to be honest.
You know, it's kind of, you know, it's a very weird thing to talk about, because then you gotta have the Nationals to approve it. They're technically still using Expo stuff, but you know,
so
Nashville has been another talk of the city.
That would be cool.
Coming
You
a little
know.
hot take from the chat. Tampa and Oakland deserve better. John Fisher should be forced to give up his majority share in the A's. Let's talk about the A's for a minute.
Again, I'm gonna go back to it. If you loved your team so much, why did it take to the last final game for them to show up?
I agree. I really do agree.
I get the
Awful
stadium.
ownership, they said.
Well,
Chat said awful ownership. I mean, shit.
it's been too
The
long.
Cardinals
It's-
ownership's blowing massive dong right now, and I'm still watching their games. And I don't even live in St. Louis. I'm still watching their games. And I think I know who this person is in the chat, and I bet you $1 million he's a Guardians fan. Same deal. I got the same question for you. You guys got awful ownership. What's going on there? How many games you been to this year?
Yeah, I don't want to hear the complaints about ownership and them not spending money, because that's all I hear, and it's just it's ridiculous at that point.
Like I said, there's different cities, man. There's different cities.
Show up and support your teams. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, exactly.
Doubling back a little bit. He did say the Red Sox are going to win the East. Too many injuries for the Yankees pitching. What do we think?
I don't know, because then you got the Orioles too. The Orioles have got some pretty good young lineup.
My World Series prediction:
well.
Phillies Orioles or Phillies on top. I think this is the year Bryce Harper finally gets one.
Interesting. Okay,
that's my take right now. So far, my take is looking really good after the first week. Now, talk to me again when we get to the All-Star break, because it'll probably be on its head.
Because half of my predictions looking okay so far. The other half is not so good.
Hey, I can never have predictions, because unlike basketball or football, baseball is too unpredictable.
100%. There's all the little intangibles with this game that a lot of people can't bring on. Yeah, that's it for the double play there. Let's move on to our unhinged baseball opinion. Who's got the most unhinged baseball opinions? Hot takes. Give me the hottest of hot takes. And I got a couple, but I'm going to let you guys go first.
I don't know if I really have one that's necessarily a hot take. I feel like most people support. I don't know if most people do or not, but
doesn't necessarily need to be a hot take. It could be just like an unhinged opinion, like something completely out there. For an example, right? Ohtani did it, right? But the league covered it up, right? Like that's an example of like an unhinged opinion.
Zach, start off, Zach.
All right, I'll get started. I've got two, so I'll start with one I've already slightly talked about. All right. Bauer's getting blacked out of the league. I think there's something else going on there. I think he's getting blacked out for something completely unrelated to his charges that were dropped, by the way, and he was found and proven innocent. And I don't think it's the locker room negativity that they're talking about behind quote unquote closed doors. I think something's going on there. I think he is exposing the MLB with how their rules are being put into place. I think Rob Manfred is an absolute fraud as a commissioner, and I think he's being showed up by Trevor Bauer on his YouTube channel of all things, and I think they're just pissed off at him for it, and I think they're blackballing him from the league and threatening any team that picks him up some pretty serious fines, and that's why I personally don't think any team wants to sniff him right now, because they're getting threatened by the league to not pick him up, and that is an unhinged baseball take.
Okay, so I have mixed reactions for this one, because I like to compare this talk of Trevor Bauer to the Hall of Fame talk, right? If we're talking about steroid users entering the Hall, right? Mm-hmm. Great example that people brought up is like, how did David Ortiz is about to be going to Cooperstown when you guys got like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens is not there, right? But somebody has brought up a good point where, sometimes people's characters is what had them still have jobs today, right?
Sure.
David Ortiz, he's a lovable guy. I'm not saying this as a Red Sox fan, but he is a lovable guy to be a commentator with A-Rod, right? They do a really good job over there at ESPN, and I enjoy watching him do commentary.
I think that particular sentence, doing a really good job there over at ESPN, in and of itself is a hot take. Just my opinion.
Well, yeah. All right, debatable. But But when you hear stories of guys of like, Barry Bonds, having such a high ego in the locker room, people are not liking him. That kind of shows.
Yeah, but look how long he played in the league. He stayed around so goddamn long. He was able to mash. He was able to set records.
You're right. No, you're totally right. And I'm not saying, this is not the reason why Barry Bonds is in the Hall. It's just sometimes, your character can affect, people's opinions of you, and they will blackball you somewhere of it. Right. When we look at Trevor Bauer, I'm glad that, he's proven innocent. I do believe he deserves to go back in the league because trust me, there's people in there right now that has done way worse than him. But
And
when
are still
you are a
playing.
pitcher to be known of chucking the ball past center field, I think with the Royals, right?
Yeah.
And
He was with the Guards
It's
at the
the
time.
guards,
It
yeah.
happened
Guardians
in
Again,
at the time,
Kansas
he did it
City.
at Kansas City.
Happened in Kansas City. Yeah, I mean, to be
When
honest with you, like, yeah, that was a shit time. Like, I totally agree with you there. Like, um, but he kind of came out and talked about that a little bit on I don't know if it was on a pod or if it was on YouTube channel. And I think he just let his emotion get the best of him there, and like that happens to everybody.
it
But
does.
like, for example, like, who was it? Was it used to play for the Cardinals? He's on the Ozuna.
Ozuna, yeah,
Got accused of domestic
hitting his
abuse.
wife.
Found it proved guilty. He's still playing in the league. Got a slap on
Yeah,
the
you
wrist
got Domingo
and a
Herman.
suspension. Domingo Herman,
Domingo Herman, I think, shot against his partner.
same deal.
Same
G1 Bay.
thing.
Same deal. Still playing in the league.
G1.
The only one who isn't currently playing in the league at this moment, rest in peace, Wander Franco.
Oh Jesus. Well, there's also the Pirates ex-closer. I forget his name, but that was a disgusting situation. I don't even care to mention his name. Just how bad that situation was.
But like, I mean, since the Wander Franco allegations, by the way, I don't even know what's going on with that situation because the international news has kept that all hush hush. I mean, the guy's vanished. It makes me wonder.
Me being Dominican, I am able to follow it up a little bit more better. And so far he has other charges that they're dealing with right now. Yes, he has gotten into trouble again out in the Dominican, and it was beefing with somebody, and it turns into an assault.
Violence related, yeah, with weapons.
Yeah. So and that's what happens when you're out on bail. Once you're in the depot, you look at streamers. Let's look at streamers today. I really don't like this kid, but Johnny Somali. Like, if you look at him, he got in trouble in Japan and Korea. Now he's doing, got out on bail. He can't fly back here, but he's getting into even more trouble because he already understands, like, hey, I'm already in trouble. Let me just, crash out. And
yeah, I mean,
so Wander Franco's crashing out right now.
It makes me wonder. It really does. But I mean, I kind of stick to my guns. I think there is absolutely no reason that Trevor Bauer is not playing in the MLB right now, other than the simple fact that the league, and by the league, I mean the commissioner, doesn't want him.
Yes. I mean, again, it's all about image, right? With Manfred, he's trying to win new fans.
But that's so goddamn old school because there's other ways. There's other ways to win new fans. There's other ways to promote the game. Blackouts, for example. Like the quickest way to promote the game is to get rid of blackouts. Have it be accessible to everyone, no matter where they are. That's the fastest way to make it grow. Promoting the league or promoting an image is such an old school baseball way of thinking, when guys used to go and scout and didn't determine whether or not a player was good by his ability, but determined if he was good and MLB material based on the way he looked while he was doing it.
I mean, you're correct. It is kind of an old school way of thinking it, but then you look at today's society where people are pulling up celebrities' past high school tweets of something they inappropriately, say,
Duran got suspended for saying the F word to a fan, and not the normal F word that we all know, the other F
Right.
word. And I mean, I think the entire league rallied around him. I mean, I don't, or the entire fan base rallied around him. I don't necessarily think that this is about image, especially from the MLB side. And if it is about image again, like Robert Manfred was there during my second hot take, which I'll be talking about, and I think Robert Manfred in general is a problem for baseball.
Interesting.
He is a problem for baseball. However, I would say he is good for international baseball. He is definitely
What, 3 series in London, 1 series in
No,
Mexico?
it's not that. It's just the other initiatives that people don't talk about. Again, I work with, sports marketing. So I kind of, these are the stuff that's just not, mainstream to say, not mainstream news, but teams are taking initiative and making baseball go into unfamiliar territories, right? You look at, Christian, you would know this player. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Gift. I know his first name is Gift, but South African.
Trying to think there.
Hockey does a better job at growing their game than the MLB does. And if I'm being honest with you, whatever international initiatives that Robert Manfred has created as far as sports marketing goes is an absolute joke, because the teams themselves do that on their own quite well. Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, Randy Rosarena. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
That's just the top 3
but
Cardinals that I
those
can think of
players
off the
are
top of my
coming
head.
from those players are coming from areas that baseball already exists. We're talking about
Absolutely.
areas that never existed before.
But for example,
like the Czech
you've got
Republic.
Sure, but you've got teams in Africa learning ice hockey with Sidney Crosby, for crying out loud.
Right. So that's
Like
what I'm
the
talking
NHL is
about.
growing their game that way, but I don't see Shohei Ohtani flying his way out to Zimbabwe, Africa, to go show people how to play ball. Like,
I mean, it all depends of location too, because we're talking Africa. Like the biggest sport right now that's really getting them right now is basketball. Like they
I'm
have
sure.
the African Basketball League. Even J. Cole started playing a couple games with them, and again, I just feel like he does a great job, doing international relations. But when it comes to the MLB and trying to, make new rules and make the game of baseball non-traditional, that's where it's hurting him a lot.
In my opinion,
ruining the image of baseball.
100%. And in my opinion, if he really wanted to grow the game, the World Baseball Classic wouldn't be every 2 years in lieu of the All-Star game. It would be every offseason. It would be in every off-season tournament. Every offseason. That would grow the game of baseball. You'd have year-round baseball. You'd have the MLB season throughout the normal MLB season course, and then give them a month to rest, recover, recoup, get on with their national team and play a month longer of baseball with their World Baseball Classic teams. That gives all these other teams. Australia is the first hottest market to go to at the MLB right now, because baseball is big over there. They want to be involved with the MLB. They finally got their first Australian baseball player in the league, and nobody's trying anything to expand that market. And I'll pull that.
Who would that be? Because I know Liam Hendricks is Australian. Believe it or not, there is a lot of Australians in the minor leagues currently. They're just not breaking through.
Hold on, I booped
the majors are getting that call.
I booped my Google.
Circling back to Gift, I do remember Gift. He was a second baseman, shortstop with the Pirates. Made his MLB debut in 2017. Also, another notable South African player was Taylor Scott.
Taylor Scott.
All right, Joe Quinn with the St. Louis Maroons in 1884 was the first player, and then first All-Star was Dave Nilsson, 99 for the Brewers. And then you've got Grant Balfour, and then Liam Hendricks. However, there's currently a gentleman, Travis Bazzana, touted infielder from Sydney. 2024 first overall in the 2024 draft. So this is the first round draft pick. This is the first pick. That's what I had meant to say, not the first player in the league. The first Australian first round draft pick by the Cleveland Guardians, looking to become the first Australian to achieve this distinction. They also have the ABL, the Australian Baseball League.
Yep.
Ronald Cooney, Liam Hendricks both played in it. I mean, this is like the spot to grow the market for the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
It is Australia. It is Australia. That's where you start. That is your gateway to the
If you guys really take if you guys ever have a chance to really look through the ABL league, because I have been watching ABL since high school, actually. I'm a big Sydney Blue Sox fan. I'm not saying that because I'm a Red Sox fan. But the first game I watched was the Blue Sox. Like, you know what? I really like this team. Unfortunately, they always get third place. But besides that, there's a lot of names that came out of the ABL that, in their minor league time, that they spent their time there rather than the DR, the PR, or Venezuela. I believe Reese Hoskins even had a season there, if I'm not mistaken. Gift, after his MLB career, went down there. I think Manny Ramirez took a stint there before. But Australian baseball is also, they're big. They're trying to extend it to New Zealand too. I know they had the Auckland Tuataras. I mean that they gave up their professional baseball status, but for Australia to start attaching their neighbors, New Zealand, I think it's really great for baseball, because then, just like basketball, it become a future international sport.
Yeah. And just to kind of touch on the overall, as far as like a global sport, there are currently, as of the opening day rosters this year, there's been 265 international born players representing 18 countries. So on the list, you have the Dominican Republic at 100 players, Venezuela at 63, Cuba 26, Puerto Rico has 16 players, Canada 13, Japan at 12, Mexico 11, Curacao at 4 players, Panama at 4, 3 from South Korea. You have Aruba, Australia, Bahamas, Colombia, Germany, Honduras, Nicaragua, and South Africa. So those are all the countries that we're growing the game from at this point.
Yeah. So let's talk quickly about the difference between Rob Manfred and Trevor Bauer as far as growing baseball globally. All right. Let's talk first about Robert Manfred and his growth of baseball globally, his international reach, so to speak. Japan, South Korea, the UK, specifically London, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and he reinstated baseball in Cuba. Of those 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 already have baseball. 5 already have baseball. Let's talk about Trevor Bauer real quick. Trevor Bauer has brought baseball some more hype to Japan and Mexico with his play there. Czech Republic, the UK, specifically. I forget where, but it just says UK here, and then Switzerland. Of those 3, all 3 do not have baseball, and he's doing this through his YouTube channel.
Yep.
Who's growing the game more?
Oh, 100% Trevor Bauer. I mean, we're talking about an old man who's sitting behind a big desk running a major league. I don't think he has the time ever to do that type of travel. But
he doesn't have to do that type of travel. He owns the damn league. He can send people on his behalf.
Right,
to go
but
and
you're
do
saying
this,
send
this
people
kind
on
of
his
thing.
behalf. So,
he can send representatives of Major League Baseball. That includes players. That includes coaches. That includes members of the MLBPA. That includes members of the front office staff of these teams. That includes members of the office staff of the MLB. Like, he has the ability to do that kind of reach.
Yeah.
In mass. Whereas Trevor Bauer is one guy.
Yeah. One guy with a lot of time in his hands, though. But I'm not denying it, though. Not denying it. He is, again, Trevor Bauer is doing a great job with it. But again, it's, he has a lot of time in his hands.
Yeah,
I
but
would
does he
say
though?
though,
Because he's still playing
I
pro
would say
ball with other countries.
Czech Republic is now are underneath the MLB's watch ever since their stint at the World Baseball Classic and how well they done there. In fact, not too long ago, MLB released a video about them. It's kind of like a somewhat of a 30 for 30 type of short film, but MLB is there now. And I hope will be a future outlet for American ball players who can't get into the minor leagues since it's harder since COVID. Now they can showcase their talents out in the Czech.
Yeah,
So that actually
that's
wants to
fair.
bring me my unhinged opinion.
Let's do it.
Minor leagues, we need more levels back how we used to have.
Explain.
I feel like there's too much talent being wasted in the independent level.
Like NIAI and indie ball.
Indie ball, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much talent being wasted out there. There's guys that I know that could definitely, like that I personally know, that could definitely be great at an independent level, but they're getting overshadowed by names. If you look at the Baseball United, right, out in the Middle East, right, talking about baseball going globally, internationally. If you look at the Middle East now, the names are overshadowed by MLB veterans that are like 40, 50 years old, right? That could have been a great opportunity for a young man to showcase his talents out in the Middle East, because if they see that, hey, there's an American here, playing ball, and they play a lot of cricket there, which is a similar sport. Let's see what baseball is like. But at the end of the day, these are older heads that are, past their prime. I'm not saying they're boring, but they're limited to what they can do, right? Versus somebody who's probably had great athleticism that's not being seen, that
Absolutely,
can
especially in the
showcase
pitching
themselves.
department. Especially
Yeah.
in the pitching department, because right now the MLB is shorthanded when it comes to quality pitching. There are several teams that have up all the names, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the rest have to kind of suffer with what's there because they've been in their minor system for so long. They've got to pull what they've got, and guys aren't being funneled up through the minors quick enough. And I think that starts with indie ball. And
Right.
I think that goes back to the old head scout thing where it comes to do about image, because I'm not sure how some of these guys are getting promoted through the minors. I genuinely am not. Some of these guys that come up through the minors, it makes you question, like, who is this
I
guy? Where did
know.
he come from? And how is he touted as a quality pitcher? Because he looks like shit.
I mean, there's, when talking about promoting guys, it's kind of tough because now we're talking about how society's being operated now. When you look at Baseball America and how they used to have those really, really great magazines that people used to read, some people still rely on paper these days. They rather read paper than burn their eyeballs out on the screen trying to read all these articles. And Baseball America, hands down, was one of the greatest outlets of having minor league news.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. But in my opinion, I mean, if you're going to scout a guy, you got to go to at least see their games. You can't just look at
oh,
their
100%.
statistics on
Yeah.
a computer. You know what I mean? A stat report's not going to tell you everything you need to know about a guy.
You're
I mean, it
100%.
goes back to Trouble with the Curve as a prime example. That movie, Trouble with the Curve, is a prime example. Um, it's a quirky baseball movie, but like, this hitter has a hinge in his swing, and the scout that goes out there hears it because he's got a hard time seeing. His daughter comes in, brings in this stud pitcher that she found, selling peanuts and doing construction work. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of my issue with indie ball level players is they're not getting their looks. First of all, because they're getting paid shit, so they can barely afford to live.
Yep.
Second, and that's a problem that the MLB has addressed, which it
So
isn't enough. Pay your minor leaguers.
can I can I add on to that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting that you bring up money and pay, because when my dad was around the minor league system, one thing I learned from him was the reason why they didn't get paid so much is because the American dollar used to out defeat the Dominican peso. Still does to this day. At the time, still, $1 for us today, even past these taros is still about $30 over there. Right now,
Yeah,
I'm fixing
sure,
up
but
a
it's also a
house.
hell of a lot more expensive to live here than now. If they were still living in the DR
Right. So,
and getting
now
that
now
money, then
talks
it
of
goes a
like,
longer way.
if minor leaguers are getting paid low, what can they at least get some benefits of housing? Right? Housing was a
Right.
big issue. I know.
Housing, team meals,
Yep.
showers. I mean,
Yep.
I've heard stories of minor leaguers sleeping in their car on road
Yep.
trips between games and
Yep.
going to work their 9 to 5 and then trying to get their ass to the stadium by 7 for a 7 o'clock start. I mean, it's it's rough. Now they have gone through some things where they mandated higher pay for their minor leaguers, but at the same time, like, is it enough? Should each club be responsible? Should that luxury tax that the Dodgers, the Yankees, and all those other teams that tend to climb way above that go over, instead of being redistributed out to the other teams that are there, should it be redistributed out to the other teams' farm systems in order to pay their players and promote more scouts and hire on more talent and bring in more talent in order to grow the game from within, instead of just giving them that money to make trades?
Right. And if you really look at today's contracts, they're going up higher and higher, man.
Oh, they're insane. They're
You know,
insane.
I don't believe any player is worth that much. Like, hot take, right? Christian Campbell, who just got entered in the league for the Red Sox, it's been extended for $60 million for 8 years.
It's insane. When I heard that on the ESPN today, I nearly shit my pants. I was like, who is this guy?
Exactly. Like, I'm still
Who
trying to
is
get
this
used
guy
to.
and why are they paying him that much?
Right. And they're trying to lock guys early, because they see a future with Campbell and Wiley. First off, Abreu should be the first one getting an extension.
Well, and here's the other side of that, though, too, is like, and I kind of understand why teams would want to lock up their players early. Freddie Freeman, prime example.
Yeah. With Freddie Freeman, that was a screw up with his scout. Because
That's my point. That's my exact point.
Now, I mean, excuse me, not his scout, his agent, because his agent didn't even let him know of the extension that Atlanta has bought out.
That's
His
my exact.
agent wanted more money because obviously, if you get a bigger contract, more money for the agent. The agent will let him know just about the
Tell Bob to
Dodgers
spend more
contract.
money, Christian. I don't know what to tell you there.
Well, that's the player that should be extended first and foremost for life.
I'm just telling you. Tell
Who's
Bob to
that?
spend the money.
Paul
I'm not
Skeens,
gonna lie.
without
I
a
didn't pay
doubt.
attention to the card. Who was it?
It was Paul
Paul
Skeens.
Skeens, without a
Okay.
doubt, he needs to be
I mean-
extended tomorrow for 200 years. I don't care if his arm falls off. Pay him whatever it takes. Keep him a Pirate for life, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that. That's my point. Is like, it's no surprise these teams are wanting to lock up their players younger and earlier, so they can't get to their 6-year mark, so they can't start to deal with the agents, so they can't start to be taken advantage of. I don't blame the teams for that. In my opinion, Scott Boras is a what's the word I'm looking for? A leech.
He's a Zach Campbell of
Dude, yeah, he's a cockroach, bro.
pregnancy.
He's an absolute cockroach. As far as I'm concerned,
to
if
his
you
credit,
run into
come on,
Zach
he's
Campbell
a
at a
really
ball
great
game,
negotiator. You can't deny it.
oh, absolutely, he gets his players millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. However, I don't think he does it in the best interest of the player, because I'm sure he's making a pretty extra penny on that increase in that
No, of
salary. It
course. I
doesn't matter
mean,
where
but
that
then
player wants
again,
to go.
it's like money talks. Like,
Boris is a
who?
leech and is also the best at his job in that industry from Little Cry. I agree. He is the best at his job. However, I don't necessarily think he is. So, like, if I went pro tomorrow and I had the ability to deal with an agent, Boris would be my last option, because, one, the game is not about the money for me. And number two, I want to play where I want to play, and I don't want to be dicked around with.
But you said the key word though, for you. There's just players who really want to get paid and are looking for
But
generational
like,
wealth.
I don't think Freddie Freeman was one of those guys.
No, you're right. He wasn't, and he was. That's why he was upset that he didn't get to learn about Atlanta's extension and only heard about the Dodgers contract.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this has been a long one so far, Christian. We got your hot take, and then I've got one more small one that you guys will probably all agree with.
Okay, so for me, I don't know how you want to take this, if it's a take or not, but to improve the game, I think one thing that we could do for the MLB is remove the DH from both teams.
Go
But
two pitchers who rake. Pitchers
but
who rake.
here's the thing with pitchers who rake. But give the pitchers metal bats.
Oh, yo.
I mean, that goes back to the saying, it's the magician, not the wand.
Fact. I agree with you a little bit on that. I think if we're gonna do metal bat anything, I think we let the home run derby be metal bats, and I think we bring back all of those retired steroid users who can still swing a goddamn bat. We give them hype fire drop 5s, and we let Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa just mash. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say something about that? If we're letting use metal bats in a home run derby, kids cannot be in the outfield.
Oh no! No, they're already getting lazed, but they're already getting lazed by line drives. Q Madison Bumgardner coming out of retirement for metal bats. Same with Wayno, dude. Wayno would hit bombs.
I want to see AJ Burnett hit with metal bats.
I guarantee you, Big Sexy'd come out of retirement to swing a metal bat. I guarantee it.
He's another one that's playing right now at the Baseball United. And if you actually look at his videos, he's still playing in DR, swinging bombs right now.
Yep.
I mean, you got CC Sabathia too, which here in New York City, he actually plays locally with John J-Rod. You probably know J. Well, we talk about this, Zach. Yeah. He's with J-Rod, and they play in the Central Park League every Sunday. And he's another one that hits bombs. I know we're talking softball.
Pitchers who rake are athletes. Baseball has gotten soft. I'll say it, and I'll say it again too with the Buster Posey rule. Baseball is soft. Yeah, you should be able to truck that catcher. If they can't hold on to that ball, that is their own goddamn fault.
No.
I mean, baseball is soft. I'm so sorry Buster Posey's crippled weak butt got hurt and got concussed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning anybody for hurting somebody else during the sport, but my word, baseball's gotten soft.
Yeah. I mean, I just think in general for my take, it's just, I would love to see like the DH go away. I mean, I get it. It's more runs and whatnot, but like
athletes, pitchers who rake are athletes. There is one pitcher who rakes in this league anymore, and it is Shohei Ohtani. And because he's the only one doing it as a two-way player, is being compared to Babe Ruth.
Yeah. And I mean, like even apparently Paul Skeens used to be a pretty damn good hitter too. And he's actually
the guy was a stud at Air Force.
Yeah,
so he was a stud at Air Force.
So he's upset that he can't hit because the Pirates are not letting him fucking even.
He went PO when he went to LSU, but he was a stud at Air Force.
I mean, now let's talk about the future. I know this would probably be a whole nother topic, but like the future of two-way players, because now you got guys like shucks, what's his name? I'm already forgetting his name, but he's turning into a pitcher. We all know him. I don't know why his name is not going.
Oh, Gallo, Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo's bitch ass. I don't think Joey Gallo's going to get very far with this. I think he's just doing anything he can to stay in the game.
I mean, you never know. You never know.
I mean, you don't, but like
because look at Kenley Jensen. Kenley Jensen came into the minor leagues as a catcher, but because he was too big for his own size and he wasn't moving well, they say, "Hey, can you pitch?" And now he got rings underneath his name.
You walk to any MLB camp, and if you can throw 90 plus, they'll take you on as a pitcher.
A lot of these guys
do not care.
90 plus.
They do not care. Standard infielders and outfielders throw 90 plus now. So as long as they can teach you how to locate and develop a couple of different pitches, you'll pitch. Here's the thing, though. Joey Gallo's got a noodle arm. I'm sorry. I don't foresee Joey Gallo getting very far with his pitching career. I'm very sorry. It's a little bit different if you're Rick Ankiel. But, I mean, like...
I was going to bring up Rick, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different if you're Rick Ankiel and you pitch and you get the yips and then you go play the outfield. But I mean, Joey Gallo is going to be throwing batting practice to these guys if he is even remotely serious about this. And I want to say that news dropped April 1st, so I don't know if that's at least when I saw it. I don't know if that's when it came out.
No, it came out way before.
Did it? Okay, because I was going to say maybe this is an April Fool's joke. I didn't really want to put any salt on it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I feel like Joey Gallo needs to do it because he's pretty much become like another Chris Davis, and he has power.
Oh, like, guy's got light tower power. Guy's got pop.
You ever seen him swing off a tee?
Oh, guy rakes. Yeah, I mean, he rakes.
It's just he has sucking timing. Like, it's. But when he
like
connects,
me right now.
He connects.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's roll into. I've got one last one for the hot takes on Unhinged Baseball. The home run race in '98 saved baseball, and the MLB let Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire fry for the steroid allegations after they knowingly allowed them to use steroids to save baseball. Talk to me about that. Guess who was on that commission, by the way? Take a wild guess.
Manfred.
Crazy. Winner, chicken dinner. Robert Manfred was on that commission, and now he's letting them fry for it. And in my opinion, he is bad for baseball.
Listen,
let them all in. Let them all in. Sosa, McGwire, Clemens, Bonds, all of them. Let them all in.
I do agree. It's a very touchy subject because, I feel like the ones who are very honest about taking PEDs will be in there right now. When you got guys like Rafael Palmeiro sitting in front of Congress to say, I did not cheat. Really? You've been caught.
Are you sure about that?
Just be honest with yourself and become a likable guy like David Ortiz. But, there's some guys
it took McGwire a little bit, but McGwire admitted it. Sosa admitted it. Steroids doesn't affect baseball like most people think, because steroids doesn't affect hitting the baseball. You still have to hit the ball, and it's the hardest thing to do. IMO from a little crier.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Yes and no. The only reason why I am a little mixed about that is because when you guys look at guys like Melky Cabrera had one of his best seasons while on roids. His bat speed went up, so now the ball is going past the infielders and finding the holes better.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just got everything to do with just pure strength. He still had to get the barrel to the ball.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
No,
like that's kind of my thing is like if he continues to get stronger, right? But there's also that deterioration of like hand-eye with that, like because now you're so bulky.
Right.
Like, he's still gonna be able to move the same way,
well,
right?
And that's why they use dip to, a little bit of nicotine, and they get a little better adrenaline and reaction.
Oh yeah, boy. We live off of nicotine and hatred in this household.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, like the steroids thing's kind of overplayed. I mean, it was good for baseball.
Fuck it. Really... Let them all use it, like within a modicum of moderation.
I mean, but my only, I don't mind it, but now let's talk about the safety, right? The safety,
especially recovery, especially on the recovery side. If players are getting injured and things like this, like let them use the steroids to recover faster. Hamper down on in terms of safety, hamper down on like amount of doses,
bat speeds are
amount
getting
of
bigger,
times. Bat speeds now without steroids are getting higher.
Now
pitch speeds now without steroids are getting higher. Like honestly, and it's kind of the same thing goes with sticky stuff for pitching. Let him use it. I would much rather that pitcher up there is throwing 102 be able to command his stuff because he's using sticky stuff rather than let one eat and it's running me up inside and it might break my face, a la Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic, jerks and Profar. Thoughts?
I mean, same thing. I mean,
Jason
if it's
Profar
performing,
got, you know, he was caught with HCG, and if anybody don't know what's HCG, it's I don't know how to say chorionic gonad. I don't know how you say that word. Gonadotropin. I believe that's the full name of it, but the acronym is HCG. Okay, let me let you guys know this. Okay, that's be used for weight loss and or which they advise against for weight loss. But they also use it for to bring hormones to a fertilized egg from pregnancy.
It's chorionic gonadotropin subunit beta 8.
There you go. So, he's using it to get mass, pretty much, and trying to, he is getting it. He is an older player, and he probably recognizes that as like, your testosterone levels go down starting around 26, 28. Right. So, and Jerickson, I don't know how old is he now.
Jerickson Profar, let's ask Alexa.
I'm sure, he's not that same player that he once was,
It's 32.
32, yeah, he's getting older.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys try to hide it, but once that test come around.
I mean, hey, there's always oil changes. A la BMS style.
I mean, just in general. I mean, if it's going to improve player productivity, does it really? I mean, the only thing that I would be concerned about is the health standard. Like, if it's going to have a lasting health stuff on someone, then obviously we don't want them taking it because we don't want players getting sick or having their careers cut short. But if it's readily available and it's safe and everybody knows about it and everybody can use it, then I really don't see a problem with it per se. But now,
go ahead, finish.
Yes, say if like somebody knows something that other teams don't know about, and they have their players using it and not the other teams, then it's an unfair advantage, and I would say don't use it. But as long as it's a fair and healthy way,
I think they could approve like healthy FDA approved steroids, right? In addition to the Jerks Profar thing, Kreider said using PEDs in a contract year, got paid, got caught. Could or should have the Braves avoided that contract. Best year of his career last year, and he got caught using. I'll let you guys talk about that. I'm gonna run and grab some more drink.
Using PEDs in a contract year, I mean, sometimes you just don't know when they have started their treatment for PEDs. So, it could have been the year prior, sometimes you just get really, some of these players get really smart when it comes to PEDs. Like, you could take, over the counter and, take some DHEA and, then flush yourself out for like 1 month. And then it becomes, non-recognizable in the drug test. But, again, it's really hard to even say, because once that contract is there, it's, there is protected money in there, and there is protection in all their contracts. So, it's kind of like buying a product, right? If you have a bad, end up getting a bad product, that's your fault. It's non-refundable. You got to know what.
Kind of like an investment, right? There's risk with every investment you make.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really what these teams are making in these players. It's an investment in these guys.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go out and sign, I don't know, Garrett Cole, and he needs Tommy John surgery, it's kind of a similar situation. You're kind of left.
What people don't.
Prime example is what's that guy's name? Who hasn't played baseball? He's played like 56 games in the past 5 years. What's his damn name? Give me a minute. I'll find it.
I mean,
it's Rendon. Something Rendon.
Yeah. Is that Anthony Rendon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but then if you're talking about Anthony Rendon, we can also pull in Mike Trout because unfortunately that dude has been
Mike Trout.
hurt as of late, and he's the one with the mega contract. He actually has something that's affecting him for the rest of
Anthony
his life.
shortened the season rundown.
7 years, $245 million signed in 2019.
Mike Trout.
No, Rendon.
No, I'm talking
Rendon
about.
played 60 games from 22 to 24, making his $35 million a year salary one of the most frustrating contracts in the league for Angels fans.
I mean, it's a risk. It's a risk. I mean, look at Mike Trout. He's loved, but that mega contract for me, he does perform when he comes back, but he's hurt too much, and he actually has a back issue where he has to manage for the rest of his life, right?
Yeah.
So that's even
similar to Key Brian Hayes.
That brings a bigger risk of how long these guys can last. Mike Trout probably not even. I'm hoping he does. Yeah, but there's a good chance that he might not even last in his contract if his treatment for his back. I don't know what was the back issue specifically, but it's a nerve issue. But
Trout has participated in 4 times as many games in the same period.
Yeah, but it's still a lot of money to fork over. Still want your players on the field, especially if you're paying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. But
I mean, injuries happen, but it's just that's frustrating.
Anthony shortened the season rundown. Yeah,
it all depends on the contract because there's some contracts with guaranteed money, and Rendon probably doesn't have that.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, I mean, I get it. The Braves, I'm sure there's a legal loophole that they could find and get out of the contract for as of. What?
He's only suspended in like 80 games. He's only suspended like half the year. It's not even anything that they really have to worry about, in my opinion.
Well, it's just they're gonna now wonder if now that the PEDs have been outed, that he's not going to be the same player once he gets back. You can't use him for the postseason either way, and it's just it's. I could see the frustration with him and trying to get out of the contract, but was the Trevor Bauer contract, were they able to get out of that scot-free?
Yes, because
I think it was a contract year, wasn't it?
No, he just signed the contract. I thought
he was just signed the contract, but with the MLB behavioral rule, they're able to void a contract if they go against that rule.
Gotcha.
Bauer did lose a lot of his money on that, I do believe.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would be something that, I mean, it's not really the same thing, but that would be the only thing that I could compare it to in recent history, that maybe the Braves have a point to get out of it if they really want to. But then
that wouldn't be fair because, you're talking about the Braves. I'm saying Rendon's side because, again, we don't know, injuries does happen and there's a risk to it. So, when it comes
with injuries, I don't think it's possible, or it should be possible. If you're playing and you get hurt, it's whatever.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to be hurt. My knee's hurt. You think I want that? No.
Dude, trust me. This
last right now it's raining in New York City, and every time it rains, my knees just suck.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's it for the unhinged baseball moments. Let's go to the chat. Let's take some Q&A. And we'll wrap it up. I mean, guys, feel free to throw anything out there if you guys want to bring anything, mention anything that you forgot. Just gonna run this out there to the chat. What do you guys got for us, chat? Let me see. Let me pull this.
Bring on those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I just want to throw in, while we're waiting for questions to come through, if you guys want to be on here and be a guest with us, we're definitely looking for more guests, looking to do more round tables. We want to start like a ranking list. So just, drop us a message. We're on Facebook now. We got Twitter, we got Twitch, we got X. We're all over the place now. So
Isaac, go ahead and throw them out your Instagram there, bud.
Oh man, yeah, you could definitely find me on as Isaac Leon Martinez on Instagram. You could check through some of my pictures of highlighted of baseball stadiums I've visited. If you're a traveler like me that loves to visit different stadiums, I definitely recommend doing it because hey, um, explore the world, man, explore your country, and baseball is a great unification of that. And visiting down south where you have had a culture shock, it's good to have different meet different people. Sometimes when I go to certain cities I never visited before and I'm by myself, it's like, hey, what's the best food here in the stadium? What do you love about it? What experiences do you feel I should experience as a baseball fan? What makes your stadium awesome?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's something I'm really excited for. Is I'm going to Japan at the end of the year, and I'm
Ah,
gonna definitely hit up some of them stadiums out there because
yeah, I got a
those
list,
have
man.
been
If
cool.
I didn't know about Trevor Bauer re-signing with Yokohama, so I'm like, dang, do I really want to make a quick trip to Yokohama real quick and try to snag a Bauer jersey? I mean, they've been selling jerseys since, but Yokohama also has the ramen noodle museum where you can find the
Mhm.
original shack that created ramen noodle. So that's
Yep.
exciting. A friend of mine, actually, one of my teammates that play here in New York City, he just moved back to Japan because he is a medical doctor, and he's doing a specialty now in Yokohama. So I would love to visit there just to see him as well. His name is Yukio. He's a really, really good shortstop. He has that Japan swing, man. He was a good ball player, man. But
Yeah.
he's in his medical career. We do have a question up in the chat.
Yeah. It
Uh,
looks like is the MLB facing a work stoppage at the end of the 27 when the CBA expires?
um, CBAs. What I like about CBAs and MLB, they're about 5 to 10 years. I don't think there will be a work stoppage. It's just because everybody's so focused on this season. When the time comes, then we'll talk about it. Do we
Oh,
see any issues between players and relationships? The only thing I can see bringing up in the CBA is about minor leaguers. From the same
uh,
conversations we had.
I'm gonna stop you on that one. We'll go back to that, but Vlad Guerrero Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays may have just agreed to a 14-year, $500 million contract.
So yes, I heard about this news. It was actually yesterday. They're saying they're close to it. It's not confirmed, but again, it's these negotiation talks. They got to finalize first before you break out news. My opinion. Sorry, Ken
Yeah,
Rosenthal.
yeah. I mean that
Yeah.
would be huge in general. Definitely would crush some Pirates fans' dreams that they were talking about the whole offseason about potentially acquiring Vlad Guerrero. So that would be funny. I didn't think that was a possibility being a realistic fan, but
For five
and
hundred
this kind of
million up in Canada, like, hey, that's to show they got some money hiding.
yeah, that's yeah.
I
What's the
mean,
excuse for cutting it?
Vladdy is Canadian, so you know, technically speaking, he would have been
Yeah,
added on to the Dominican chart, but he is Canadian, so um,
yeah. I mean, and then just going back to a potential maybe like a lockout or a stoppage. I mean, the only thing that I could see is that maybe you get these small market teams that want maybe a salary cap, or you could get, I don't know, maybe the higher teams go. Now you got to have a cap floor, and
mm,
that would be an interesting thing
it
there.
would be an interesting topic. Like I said, some of these big market teams also are coming from states that come with high taxes.
Yeah,
So, yeah, somebody could sign with the Yankees for 700 million, but in reality, with New York tax, like, listen, every paycheck they take out between 25 to 30% of my check. So let's put that in perspective. Okay, you're gonna lose out of that 800, let's say an $800 million contract, right? You're gonna lose
yeah,
200 of it. That's not
yeah,
including the agent that you got to pay off, the team that you have for your off season, workouts, nutritionists, and etc. You know, it, when you had small market teams mostly come from areas that has low taxes.
Yeah.
So yeah, money talks, but you really gotta, this is when your agent has to, you know, play the cards and understand, how much money they're gonna get taken when they do taxes.
Yeah. Shameless plug here. Our sponsor, speaking of taxes, Amateur and Co. If you're looking to save money on taxes, you should definitely hit them up. They'll save you a huge amount of money there. Shameless sponsor plug there while we're on the tax
April
talk here.
15th coming up. Get it done,
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely. Get them tax plans.
Passan confirmed a Vladdy Jr. Deer pending physical.
That's crazy. While we're on the the potential lockout, what do you guys think would make baseball more competitive? Would it be a salary cap or a cap floor? Well,
pitching,
but
pitching. Good pitching beats good hitting every day of the week.
Definitely go on YouTube, search up the depth of the starting pitcher. It's a great talk about pitching. I definitely recommend you watching. But again, it is pitching, man. It is pitching because guys are finding ways. Like science has becoming very combative with pitchers versus batters.
See, for me, pitching isn't a problem for my team as far as starting pitching, but bullpen pitching is absolutely atrocious. So
pitching as a whole, yeah, no, but I think a salary floor, to be honest with you, if we're talking in terms of money making teams competitive.
Yeah, I mean, just realistically, I don't see with baseball being a new salary cap sport how you could then put a salary cap in and be like, oh, now you guys got to get under that. And like, oh, we never told you this was coming. So that would be a shock. So I think you have to at least start with a salary floor. And then
I think you lower the cap for the luxury tax. I think you bring that down a good bit just for shits and gigs.
I mean, luxury tax now is being involved with the government here. So
you increase that luxury tax, right? And then you enforce a floor.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, you can't come in and drop the salary cap on anybody right now because it's just not. I mean, would it make baseball fair? Sure, but you're definitely going to piss off a lot of people.
That's kind of the thing for hockey, too. They have a cap, right? I think it's 82 million. I think they need to raise it personally, for hockey, but for baseball, no. It's hard to enforce a cap right now when you've got a system in place that does a luxury tax when you exceed that cap.
Yeah, I mean,
baseball is growing globally too, so there's a lot of money being made. Like I said, when you come think of a tourist, because the Yankees been around baseball for so long and such an iconic logo, they're gonna get a New York Yankees cap just because.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot of money being made in baseball.
Absolutely. And that kind of goes back to my difference between Trevor Bauer and Rob Manfred. Rob Manfred's growing the business of baseball, while Trevor Bauer is growing the culture of baseball.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the only thing is for me for a cap, where would you set it at? Because you have your top 10, each over the top 10 is either at 200 million or over 200 million. So would you set it at 200 million and have them?
What's the luxury cap at? Before the luxury, what's the cap at before the luxury tax? I don't remember. I thought it was 150.
I'm not sure. But then you have the bottom, let's say the bottom 6.
Invested, yes, but not paying out annually. The cap goes by annual salary.
Yeah.
Which is why they're going to get absolutely screwed when Shohei Ohtani comes to collect in 20 years.
Yeah. 250 million.
Everybody want to laugh at the Mets.
That Bobby Vanilla deal is wild.
But it's just a small mill that this guy can pay off real quick.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at the bottom 5 teams, okay, the Guardians lead the bottom 5 at 85. Then you have the Pirates at 78, which I'm actually shocked to see the Pirates that high. Then you have the Rays at 73, the White Sox 58, and the Oakland A's at, well, they're not even really Oakland anymore, but at
The
57.
luxury tax
The A's is
threshold.
gonna eventually lose out of that list because again, Vegas. Shout out to Vegas, man. They are really trying to be more than just a strip. Like they have really built a city out of. So for them to get the A's, hey, all due credit. I mean, again, it sucks for baseball, but hey, changes does happen.
Yeah.
And we just gotta accept it. Um,
I mean, so realistically here, you have teams on this list. I'm actually shocked to see St. Louis like only spending 120 million because I feel like they always used to spend like
Used to.
150 to 200 million.
Used to. Well, it was never quite that high. We never pushed the luxury tax, but we did pay our players.
Yeah.
The luxury tax is capped. That like the threshold there is $237 million. Anything over that, tier 1, 20% is the tax rate. Tier 2 is at 257 million, going up to 32% tax rate. Tier 3, 277 million at a 62.5% tax rate. And here's the tier 4 Steve Cohen tax, 297 million at 80%. 80% of that money is going to other teams. Like if the
man,
team
but
is a
hey,
repeat
but
offender over the threshold in consecutive year, the tax rates go up 30%, 42, 75, etc. Who's
Yeah.
over in 2025? The Dodgers and the Yankees are
Dodgers,
currently
the
expected to
Yankees.
see the first and
Oh,
possibly the second tiers. The Mets may be under this year after cutting back their historic 2023 payroll.
I said the Mets right now have the highest payroll in baseball at 322 million.
it's because of their owner. He's the one that's opening his own pockets up.
Yeah.
It's
And
my
now
whole.
with these, and remember,
Um,
he does a lot of hedging. So with these tariffs and the stocks going down, he's making a bunch of money right now to eventually put that back into the Mets
it's very
bankroll.
likely.
Yeah.
Very likely.
I mean, realistically, looking at this list, if you put in that each team had to spend about 125 million, it would even out this list significantly. I think it would make the game a lot more compatible.
I think you lower the luxury threshold to 150,000 and 150 million. Anything over it, you triple the tax. Fuck it.
Yeah. But then you make those other teams that get that money have to spend that money no matter what.
I agree. Have
You
It is
can't pocket it.
enforced that they spend it. Now, here's the thing with lowering the luxury tax is I think it'll bring a lot of baseball players down to real life on what they're actually worth. I'm sorry, Shohei Ohtani is not a 700,000 or $700 million man. Neither is Juan Soto. Neither is anybody else who plays baseball. I'm sorry.
You don't think
This
Bryce
is
Harper's
why
worth it?
No, Bryce Harper at most for 10 years is worth $100 million, 10 mil a year.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry. That is like, you do not need, what do you need all that money for? You're getting taxed on it anyway. You're just giving half of it to the government with that much money.
I feel like
Unless they got a
if
good
you
tax
put,
planning.
I doubt they do.
I feel like if you're gonna have a big long contract from anywhere that's like 8+ years, you got to do performance incentives.
Oh, I agree. I agree to an
You know.
extent. I mean, they have to be set within realistic expectations. They can't be go throw 4 no-hitters or go hit 400 home runs. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. I think they have
Right.
to be realistic for within the role that you're bringing that person on for. I appreciate Vegas wanting sports teams, but I don't think they're going to fill that stadium IMO. Vegas is about to spend stupid money when they finally move there. Spider Monkey ILM. We got a new dad in the chat, folks. Spider Monkey is a new father. Everybody clap him up. He's got that dad power. He's got that dad power out there.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't necessarily know how things are going to go with Vegas, but I do think they're going to spend quite a bit of money when they do finally move there. But I don't think it's going to be on players. I think it's going to be on their facilities and their stadium.
Yes.
No.
Going to be on.
The Vlad Guerrero Jr. news is officially confirmed. It is being reported now.
Pending a physical for Vladdy Jr. And I honestly didn't see Vladdy Jr. going anywhere else but staying in Toronto.
Yes. congrats to Vlad Guerrero Jr. I guess if you need,
Yeah.
No deferral, by the way.
I mean, no, absolutely not. I mean, to be honest with you, like, I kind of figured like his dad stayed, with the Expos for a long, long bit. But it's another Canadian market team. I think he's comfortable there. I think his family's happy there. I didn't see him going anywhere.
Yeah. He says, I just don't think they're a sports town. The Raiders can't fill their stadium in Vegas. Well,
I'd argue to say
terrible.
Yeah,
They're still
I'd
building the
also
city.
argue to say that they are a sports town because they filled their NHL stadium and they won a cup.
Yeah, the Golden Knights. Well, my topics on the cup win.
I just can't even anymore, man. I just can't even anymore. The guy's throwing Roycroft and after, Jesus Christ.
Well, it looks like the Pirates' offense is about to explode. Watch them get shut out 3 games in a row like the Reds.
For Vegas to be a sports town, you are correct. They're not there yet. However, they are built. If you're really paying attention to the city, they are really building a lot of houses there. They are making it a really big city. I know a couple of people has already moved to Vegas so far that live either in Henderson, Nevada, or in actual suburbs of Vegas. They are really building and they're putting a lot in there. So eventually, they will be a sports town. I know viewership in WNBA in America is not big, but they do have the best girls there. So, that was the start off with the Las Vegas Aces. They had a really good championship run back-to-back years. And, Vegas is trying to keep applying the pressure and, trying to steal all the Oakland fans and, what is the Raiders or not. But yeah, eventually Vegas will be that type of city.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know. It should be good for the game, I hope. I mean, the stadium renderings of what they're trying to build is kind of nuts, but I don't know. I hope it's good. I mean, I feel for A's fans that were actually fans, but also could have showed up when you were asked to. But
yeah,
overall, I mean, hopefully it's a good thing for baseball. I'm a little excited for it. I just maybe even more excited to see some, I don't know, different jersey combinations. Kind of excited what they could do with the A's in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. All right. Do we have any other questions that we're...
I hope they're able to capture success there. It would be huge. Yeah, I think that's about it.
All right.
I don't think I see anything else going to the chat. And
well, if that's it, I mean, in general, I'm just gonna close it out. I want to thank Isaac for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely, big shout out to Isaac again. Go ahead and drop
Yes.
where you're at on your socials for the chat. Let them follow you. Let them find you. Where can everybody find you?
For sure. Thank you guys. You can find me at Instagram at Isaac Leon Martinez. I'm also running a big up and coming AU program down here in New York City. It's called the Manhattan Spartans. You can find us there too. Just give us a big shout out. We're about to hit 1,000 followers. We'd love to see that number surpass right before our season start. We got a bunch of college guys coming up, so we need their support to gain that clout because in the basketball world, social media matters, especially when it comes to recruitment. So definitely search us up. But other than that, baseball, you can find all the stadiums and see my experiences there. It was and that still will be continuing on at some point this season. Christian, have fun with Japan. I definitely want to join you on that soon because I do have a big list that I want to visit, especially, visiting from Jingu Stadium, which is like Japan's Fenway, right?
Yeah.
To the Tokyo Dome with the Giants. I do have a Giants hat. They are my team. And then with Trevor Bauer, making baseball big in the international scene, Yokohama is also on my list now. So,
I'd love to get out
guys,
there
I,
and
I
check out
really
a
thank
Base
you for
Stars
this
game.
opportunity to talk baseball with you guys. This is actually honestly a great episode.
Yeah, we might run you back next week too. So
okay, I love it.
stay
I'd love to
tuned.
be
Stay
here. Just give
tuned,
me
man.
the details, man.
Yeah,
Give me the details.
Chat, just let us know if you want us to bring Isaac back. We would love to do that. So let's let him. Let's see the Isaac chats, and we'll see if we can bring him back next week.
Little Crider, thank you for the comment. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. So we're gonna close out this episode here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you want to see more, I'm gonna drop the episodes on YouTube. It's going to be under my personal channel for right now, which is just Christian Day. So just search that up on there. But I'm going to work on getting us a actual personal page. But right now they'll just be in the playlist under the Bushes and the Burghs Baseball Talk with Zach and Christian. We're also on Facebook, same name, Bushes and the Burghs Baseball Talk and Christian. You can always hit up Zach on Amateur Clutch on Instagram. He'll also have everything on there. He's on TikTok. So just keep posted. We'll try to do this every Sunday. Might miss here and there, but we'll keep you guys updated with all the socials and stuff like that.
We'll be big, man. We'll be big. It'll be a good, big podcast. I remember when I first met Zach through MLB Update, we were managed to grow that page to 10,000 followers. This podcast, I can't wait for it to blow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I'd love to run our own socials with the page. I think we get Isaac involved there. He's pretty good at helping structure stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to see you guys next week and to grow. Let us know what you guys want us to cover, topics, anything like that. We're gonna keep a couple of the segments in there weekly, like the double play. I think we're gonna try and come up with a name for it for the topic, like the beer league topics.
Beer league hotline, yeah, the beer league topics. You guys can send stuff in. I'm gonna try to post this out to my MLB league as well, or my baseball league as well. Try to get that out there. They can send in stuff to the show. We'd really love to hear some feedback from y'all. So thanks everybody so much. We look forward to next week. We may have a special guest for you next week too. Not just Isaac. We may have another guy. All right.
All right, guys.
All right.
I'll see you next week.